insurance is not the sexiest topic in the world of yachts, but it's an essential topic. What got you into the world of insurance for yachts?
That's a good question. My father started in insurance for an agency called C.A. Hansen. And C.A. Hansen was the oldest yacht insurance specialty agency in the world. Started in 1931 by a guy named Chris Hansen. Anyway, he became a part of that because he had boat and yacht expertise. He had been running a shipyard called Merrill Stevens. Oh. That's on the other side of the family. My parents are actually, my mother's a Merrill. So,
of Merrill Stevens?
Of Merrill Stevens.
Know that.
Yeah. So I grew up in that boatyard. And so my father had boat and yacht insurance experience, and so they hired him, and then he ended up acquiring C.A. Hansen. So as a child, I was forced into labor as doing coffee cups and filing, but I loved it. So it was always wonderful. We always were always on boats, and so as immediately got involved in the boating business as far as insurance. Graduated from college and worked as a Lloyd's broker.
Really?
Yeah. So I spent a little bit of time in London and have just been involved in it ever since. So yeah, C.A. Hansen back in the day was one of the only yacht insurance specialty agencies and then others came along. But what's funny is a yacht wasn't what it is today.
No, I imagine.
A yacht was, maybe 80 feet or less, But I mentioned to you earlier, my dad, one of his great clients was Malcolm Forbes with the Highlander.
Yeah.
But really the organization that helped C.A. Hansen grow and prosper was Berger Boat Company. So they insured the shipyard, Berger Boat Company, and then they insured every burger that came out.
Wow.
So all of that American traditional yacht expertise we got to insure.
Wow.
So.
Now, as you know, I do a lot of walkthrough videos on yachts.
Yes.
And we were talking quite recently about maybe at the end of the video saying how much would it cost to insure, how much would it cost to finance. But I've always been cautious about asking that question because it's not that easy, is it? It's not like I could say that's a Ferretti 80 that's for sale for $1.5 million. How much did it cost? What are the factors that you need to take into account in giving an estimate of the cost of insurance?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Region is very important right now. Whether it's going to be, seasonal in the Med versus full-time in the Caribbean. And I can say full-time in the Caribbean is almost impossible right now.
Really? Because of the
very
hurricanes
difficult. The hurricane coverage is driving insurance, reinsurance. Yeah. After Hurricane Irma, Maria, the Caribbean is basically a no-go. Wow. And after that happened in the insurance market, there were 31 programs in Lloyd's, and now there's one. They all went out of business.
Wow.
Yeah. And so there's a couple of factors that are happening in yachts. As you know, the cost of building a boat has increased dramatically. And so the cost of repair has increased dramatically, which means that the cost to repair a claim has increased dramatically. And yet insurance hasn't. Percentage-wise, insurance has gone up, but it hasn't gone up enough to make it profitable. Yeah. So insurers realize this and they say, we're just going to take our money and we're going to go do something else with it. Yeah. So the lack of capacity is the reason for the rate increases that we're seeing right now.
So you said earlier the region the yacht's in is a big factor.
Yes.
What about the manufacturer of the yacht? Do you say, this is a yacht that's really well built, seaworthy, unlikely to have big problems? This one's had a few fires on board. Or do you look at that, or is that not going to it?
Yeah, very much so. So we have, typically new vessels coming on the market today have a level of standard that underwriters feel fairly comfortable with, but there's definitely pedigree that would prohibit an underwriter or encourage an underwriter to be involved in the vessel.
Yeah.
So,
'Cause I think somebody new to the industry who's looking to buy their first yacht, I think that's important to know, isn't it? That brands like Fedship and Amels and Lursen, they have a good reputation for a reason.
yes,
And then that surely is going to be an easier yacht to insure and more favourable for insurance.
absolutely. It's a classic Fed ship, let's just say a 2000 vintage Fed ship, can easily get insured with just about any market.
Yeah.
20-year-old plastic boat built by whomever may not honestly get a favorable rate.
Yeah.
And of course, you're going to have depreciation factors in that vessel that you wouldn't have on the Fed ship.
Yeah.
So the cost of repair factors into insurance. The cost of replacement factors in. So if the vessel was originally built for $20 million and is selling for $2 million, they factor the rate based on the $20 million.
Yeah.
Because that's how much it's going to cost to repair it.
Right.
So they have to repair it based on something called new for old, and you want that in your policy.
Yeah.
On repair, as opposed to what's called depreciation, which takes it down to what the actual value of the product, which may be nothing.
Yeah. So take me on the journey of somebody who inquires. They say, Laura, I've just bought a new 45-meter CRN and I need to get insured. And they come to you. What's the first thing that you do?
Well, KYC.
Ah, yes.
We do the know your client right away. That has to happen. And once we're through that, it's very straightforward. The larger yachts, actually, anything over 300 ton, we know that class and flag are going to be watching over the vessel in a very proper way. We vet maybe the captain and the mate and the engineer, but other than that, we don't have to get all of the resumes of everyone. We look at their cruising. We look at their owner's prior experience, and that's it. We're ready to go.
But is it like an insurance brokerage where you then get different quotes from different
Yes,
companies?
so depending on the size of the vessel, there are carriers that write a hull policy, which includes liability, which includes the crew medical, which includes the pollution.
Wow.
But on larger yachts, when say larger, over 300 tons, you have to separate those. You have to get a hull form, which only insures the vessel, physical damage to the vessel. Then you have a liability form that insures any liability that the insured may incur as a result of the ownership or operation of the vessel.
Oh.
Any liability. So it's quite broad. When people worry about their liability, they should.
Yeah.
But a liability policy from a club P&I carrier, protection and indemnity carrier, is very, very comprehensive. It includes so much good coverage. So I highly recommend using clubs because they're very good at what they do. Then you have crew medical, which is basically injury or illness to the crew is fully covered. There's a lot of good carriers that we offer that. And then the fourth aspect is the pollution. So pollution is really more of a U.S. issue as far as because the liability coverage also covers the pollution. But that's the policy number 4.
Yeah.
So we give them a whole package. We tie it up with a little bow, and then we say, we've got you covered.
And generally speaking, are you dealing with the captains or the owners or both?
Management, captains, very rarely the owner. That may be just the way it is nowadays. But
and a couple of other questions I really wanted to ask you. One is for a new owner who's just bought a yacht for the first time. What advice would you give them as far as insurance is concerned?
Go ahead and understand that there is expertise, and you probably got a private client group representative who is insuring your home and your auto or homes and autos around the world, and that's great. But you wouldn't go to, a dentist for brain surgery. And I'm not saying it's brain surgery, but there's a difference between what your personal lines agent is able to provide versus what a yacht specialist is able to do.
It's the same with law, isn't it? You need to go to a marine lawyer rather than your corporate lawyer when you're buying the yacht or chartering a yacht.
Yes, very much, very much. So when you look at, and we have this happen actually, we do occasionally work with insurance brokers who do everything for the client, and there's a great trust factor there, right? It's like the yacht brokers. They love this client and they want to do the right thing for the client, and it's hard to let go when it's, but that insurance agent will come to me and they'll say, please, can you just help us? And we will go ahead and help them put the program together.
Now, the other thing I wanted to ask you, because a lot of people, they come on YouTube, they watch videos because they just want to get into the yachting industry. So somebody who wants to get into the insurance sector of the yachting industry, what advice would you have for them? And
that's really actually a great question. And anybody wants to get into the industry, call me, because we need people. We've been growing a lot. But I've worked with a lot of different organizations. I've run wholesale divisions and been a producer, and right now with Newcoast, I'm developing the yacht programs that we have. And the question is, do you bring somebody who knows a lot about yachts and teach them insurance, or do you have somebody who knows a lot about insurance and teach them about yachts? And we've gone both ways. It's really about your desire and your passion for learning. And because there is a learning curve. I learn every day on this business. I've been doing it for 40 years. So I think that it depends on actually the personality. So I don't know what you see for yacht brokers as far as...
It's a similar thing, isn't it? It's passion, determination, persistence.
Yes.
With it. But it's interesting that you say that you're expanding and sort of let us know if you're interested in doing it. Is there possibilities for people to sort of work as apprentices, or do you prefer to take on people who've got already substantial experience? Yeah,
that's a really good question. With COVID, everybody gone remote, right? We have a team. We have 2 in Antibes, in our Antibes office. We have the home office in Clearwater, but I'm in Fort Lauderdale, which we just opened at LMC, but it's small. And but we also have remote people in California. And so teaching someone today is one of the most challenging things, is someone to start and them not be able to hear, and you probably have this with yacht brokers too. We want to be able to let them learn from the conversations that we have on a normal basis about the insurance, because that is the best way to learn, honestly, I think. The other way to learn, obviously, is to be in communication all the time, because communication is the key. But that takes time from the management to do that. So we have decided that we have to have a physical office, because we want to be able to bring people in and let them learn and grow in the business.
That makes sense. Thanks for that, Laura.
Yeah, thank you. So,
was there anything else that you wanted to add that we haven't covered that you think is important to say?
Well, I would say that working with you guys has just been a great joy. So we appreciate everybody that is at Northrop Johnson, as well as your group. So thank you.
Right. Thanks, Laura.
Okay.